Long ago, you and your people built a peaceful land. Since then, your world has been taken over and inhabited by the evil Tanzra and his guardians. Your once tranquil land has become a breeding ground for monsters. Injured, you have returned to your sky palace and have fallen into a deep sleep. Now many years have passed and you have recovered from your injuries and slumber. You must punish Tanzra and restore the world to your people or lose their faith forever. Welcome to ActRaiser from Quintet and Enix America, released in November 1991. This is a game that's kind of sort of part of the Quintet and Enix Soul Blazer series. Depending on who you talk to, it either is or isn't. I feel like it kind of sort of is. It's an outlier for sure, not quite as in as games like Terranigma, Soul Blazer itself, and Illusion of Gaia, but it kind of sort of follows the same thing. This is a platform and city building simulation game developed by Quintet, published by Enix, which combines traditional side-scrolling platforming with urban planning god game sections. There is a sequel, ActRaiser 2, which we will be looking at later, released in 1993. In 2007, it became available on the Wii Virtual Console, and a version of the game was released for European mobile phones in 2004. Though I don't know why you would want it to be. After several hundred years of rest after a defeat at the hands of Tanzra, our master awakens fully to discover that he has lost his powers due to a lack of belief. As the game progresses, the master defeats Tanzra's lieutenants and recovers his powers by rebuilding the civilizations of his people and communicating with them through prayer. After all lieutenants have been slain, the master commences an assault on Tanzra's stronghold, Deathheim, eventually defeating him. After the defeat of Tanzra, the master and his servant revisit the many civilizations that they had hoped to build and observe the people. During these observations, they note that nobody is at the temple worshipping the master. The servant observes that, although the people once prayed to master in times of troubles, they no longer feel a need to because they are not in danger. The master and his servant then enter the sky palace and depart to the heavens to await a time when they may be needed. We play as the master, the main protagonist of the game. We are never directly controlled. We interact with the world by controlling an angel in an animated statue. We play as an angel during the simulation sequences of the game and a statue during the action sequences. The overhead view simulation mode involves protecting and guiding the master's new civilization towards prosperity, beginning with 2 humans. This portion of the game requires the player to take actions that encourage the growth of the population, including road planning and using lightning, rain, sun, wind, and earthquake as miracles. The angel can interact with the monsters in the area by shooting them with a bow and arrow, as well as aid the master by indicating where to build and use those miracles. One obstacle in the simulation mode is the presence of flying monsters which attempt to impede the progress of a civilization. The source of the monsters are 4 layers around the region at the beginning of each level. They continuously spawn the creatures as the servant kills them. As the population expands, it can seal the layers of monsters, which prevent them from spawning and eventually eliminate all the flying monsters in the land. Doing so increases the civilization level of the region, allowing more advanced structures to be built and increasing the potential population. Once all 4 layers have been sealed, the population will begin to build the most advanced homes available to the people in that region. The master levels up by increasing the total population of the world, granting an increase in hit points and SP, which is used in performing miracles. Each area has 2 side-scrolling action sequences, one before the building simulation and another near the end. In the action sequences, the player controls a human-shaped statue brought to life by the master. The player must jump from platform to platform while defeating monsters to accrue a score. At the end of each action sequence, the player must defeat a boss. The final level is an action sequence boss marathon, culminating in the final fight against Tanzra. There are some differences between the Japanese and American versions, such as all of the religious references being removed from the Japanese version. The game has some allegories to Christian monotheism, and our protagonist was referred to as God and the antagonist as Satan in the original Japanese version. The bosses are based on real-world mythology or mythology such as Greek mythology and Hinduism. The concept of religion is further explored at the end of the game, and the angel and master discover that the churches of the world have become empty, people having lost their concept of faith and need for a deity now that their lives have had all suffering removed. They leave the planet to come back when needed. Changes also include the title, which was changed from ActRaiser 2 words to ActRaiser 1 word with a new logo. Graphical censorship transformed monster layers from Stars of David to skull-like symbols. Action segments possess overall easier level design. Enemies have new attacks, spells require less magic, spike pits do not instantly kill the player, and more time is given to finish each segment. However, the simulation segments have been made more difficult. For example, it's difficult to reach the maximum experience level in this version. Therefore, there is a professional mode which you can access, which bypasses the simulation segments and deals strictly with the action segments, which is much more like how the second game plays. Among many things, the game is recognized for its score, which was composed by Yuzo Koshiro. Its release within 6 months of the launch of the console demonstrated the compositional potential it represented to future products, underscoring its ability to use and manipulate comparatively high-quality samples. A single-disc soundtrack for the game was released on January 25, 1991 in Japan, and a shorter arranged soundtrack titled Symphonic Suite for ActRaiser was released on September 21, 1991. I have it. It is excellent. In 2004, a medley of music from the game arranged by the original composer was performed live at the second annual Symphonic Game Music Concert in Leipzig, Germany. The game sold about 620,000 copies worldwide, with 400,000 of those sold in Japan and 180,000 in the USA and the rest in Europe. It was awarded Best Music of 1993 by Electronic Gaming Monthly. On December 12, 2003, ActRaiser was inducted into GameSpot's Greatest Games of All Time. It was rated the 150th best game made on a Nintendo system in Nintendo Power's Top 200 Games list. And in 2007, Screw Attack ranked ActRaiser #1 on their Top 10 Big Names That Fell Off, which listed games that in days past were extremely popular, whether good or bad, but have since all but faded away. ActRaiser was described in a decidedly good way. It is also number 10 in their top 20 Super Nintendo games. EGM gave it 9 out of 10, IGN 7.5 out of 10, and Nintendo Power 3.95 out of 5. I love this game. It's one of the first games I remember owning that I actually paid for with like my own lawn mowing money, because I was about that age at the time. It's a very hard game. It's a very challenging game, even the dumbed down, quote unquote, American version. The music is fantastic. The graphics are great. The story is wonderful. Everything about this game is good. If you are interested in seeing it, there is a Let's Play available at LowBiasGaming.net, where I am playing a fan-translated Japanese version. So it's the original Japanese version translated over into English.